Well, 28 years after one of the darkest chapters in independent India, 3,000 Sikhs were massacred in response to the assassination of Indira Gandhi. Young children, some just born toddlers, saw their fathers and uncles murdered in front of them, often burnt alive. Women were raped and killed. But almost 3 decades later, many can still hear the echoes of those screams as if it were yesterday, as justice continues to elude them. In fact, according to one estimate, one Sikh was killed every minute on the streets of Delhi while those riots carried on. Riots alleged to have the involvement of Congress politicians and the police. Yet, despite so many eyewitnesses, only 30 people have been convicted. The real culprits may have got away.
Home to several Sikh families in 1984, Rajnagar today has just a few families left. The area saw some of the worst cases of mob violence and killings that followed Indira Gandhi's assassination. Several commissions highlighted the violence, but it was only in 2005, after the CBI took over, that it found enough evidence to charge the then Congress Member of Parliament Sajjan Kumar and 5 others with murder and dacoity. The case is now in its final stages, but there are startling revelations on glaring lapses in investigations. The investigating officer Kumar Vashisht never visited the area or recorded statements of the witnesses. During the entire period of my investigation, I never visited Rajnagar. Accordingly, since I never visited that area, I did not record any statement of any witness. Well, here in Rajnagar, Palam, it's tough to actually locate an address. But eyewitnesses clearly say that the mobs that attacked were anything but sporadic. In fact, they were highly organized. Many of them possessed lists of exactly where the Sikhs lived.
Our house next door was Hindu people who are great pals of ours.
For someone who survived the nightmare, Mrs. Singh shudders as she recollects what happened.
We saw that incident of that man being burnt. I saw the tie around his neck and firing and screaming. And these police vehicles were moving up and down. Why couldn't they stop? The apathy, the indifference. Their leader was a political leader because he carried a lot of clout. There were no urchins, surprisingly. There were no urchins. I could see the person who was leading the mob. We had seen on Doordarshan and we had seen on, he was a local big shot.
A mob started gathering, they had those iron rods and lathis and whatnot. They started breaking all the window panes and whatever. Started torching our house also. और हम अपने गली में भाग रहे हैं and they are after us. Everything was haywire. I don't know कौन कहाँ भागा. 2 row of houses के बीच में एक टॉयलेट था कॉमन सा. जो नज़र आया वहाँ पे जाके I just hid myself. I could hear the voices of my brothers. छत पे भाग रहे थे उनके पीछे and my elder brother was crying, Uncle, हमने आपका क्या बिगाड़ा? हमने आपका क्या बिगाड़ा? आप हमको क्यों मार रहे हैं? They were torched, the 3 of them. I think टायर डाल के साथ में एक और स्ट्रीट थी. Even FIR, उसके बाद FIR तक नहीं हो रहा था. They wanted money for it.
The Kapoor Mittal Committee of 1984 had identified 72 police officers for connivance or gross negligence, recommended that 30 of them be sacked, but no action was taken. Finally, in 2005, the CBI charged Sajjan Kumar and 5 others. And as the case nears completion, a lot of families are watching the outcome. In New Delhi, Siddharth Pandey for NDTV.
Well, let's now go across to someone who's been fighting for justice for these victims. Who else but H.S. Phoolka, a lawyer for the 84 victims. Thanks again, sir, for speaking to us. Great to have you on the program, sir. It's been 28 years now, sir, and we've seen half a dozen committees and commissions being set up. Yet, when you talk about the 84 riots, the first thing that comes to mind is justice delayed, justice denied, and of course, perhaps even increasingly becoming a forgotten chapter in India's history. Do you believe, sir, that this is ever going to change, or is it sort of just going to be forgotten in the pages of history, as it were?
You see, now this is for the first time the CBI has come out with the investigations that the Delhi police was a part of and parcel of the whole cover-up. I mean, Delhi police has intentionally removed the documents, they have fudged the documents, and to help the accused, and including the Sajjan Kumar. Now, this kind of a damaging evidence coming out, and still relying upon the same very investigations conducted by Delhi police in the other cases also. I mean, this is a very, very serious thing. Now, the government should think about it, that after its own investigating agency shows that in what kind of investigation was done.
Right, sir. Of course, the question that has always been raised. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, sir, but of course the question's always been raised on the Delhi police really probing its own and how effective that would really be. We've seen the Akalis come out and say, let's have a special investigation team like we've seen in Gujarat. Do you believe that would help?
No, not only Akalis. This move was initiated by Justice Krishna Iyer. Justice Krishna Iyer has written a letter to the Prime Minister only 2 weeks back, and that is supported by Fali Nariman, Justice Sachar, Kuldeep Nair, many others. They say the SIT on the same lines like in Gujarat.
Right.
I mean, that should be formed. And the investigation should be conducted under the supervision of the Supreme Court appointed team.
Right. Thanks for bringing that to our notice, sir. But do you believe that really is the answer? Do you believe 28 years on there is a team like that could make a difference?
It will definitely make a difference. Now we are not looking for a complete justice. We are looking for a symbolic justice. Most of the witnesses have died. Most of the accused have also died. Now we want at least to take some steps now, so that after a few years it will be too late. The witnesses will not be alive. The accused will also not be alive.
So what would be symbolic justice in your opinion, sir?
At least few of the perpetrators and few of their followers should be convicted.
Right, sir. Very recently we saw Jagdish Titler there in Orissa. There was all that audio of his saying Toro Toro, which was really caught on camera. Many said it brought back memories of what happened during the riots and his role. We've seen all those victims who say that he really got away scot-free.
No, that is the kind of the thing which they did. They are encouraged. After 84, after murdering thousands of people, if nothing has happened to them, I mean, they got encouragement from that, and this is what they are doing everywhere. And now the government has totally forgotten, like you mentioned, forgotten about these people, as if those killed were not the citizens. That's the reason we have started this campaign under the name of Forgotten Citizens. And we are doing the main event on 3rd of November at Jantar Mantar.
Right, sir. Forgotten, like you say, even though the Prime Minister stood up in Parliament and apologized for what's considered one of the darkest and bloodiest chapters in India's history. But thanks very much, sir. Your, of course, efforts carry on, and your brave fight for justice carries on. And here's wishing you all the best, even though it's 28 years after that carnage which killed 3,000 people. Thanks very much for joining us there. Well, on that note, we're slipping into a quick break. There's more lined up for you, including serious lapses that were behind that ship that got grounded after a cyclone Neelam in Tamil Nadu.